Hello, my name is Kristen Sandifer. I will be presenting my Gator connections that I made this semester with you guys. And I'm going to start first with my first connection, Brandon Karan. He actually did not go to the University of Florida. He went to the University of California, Berkeley, but he did speak at the University of Florida, and that's kind of how we became connected with him through Shelley Lyle. His role is the NBA Player Marketing and Business Development Director. He's considered an agent. He has interned at a ton of places, too long to even list on this presentation, but here are some of the significant ones I noted: CAA, Wasserman Media, CBS Interactive, and the Golden State Warriors, just to name a few. He actually represents NBA players from a marketing point of view. So when you first think of agent, most people think of the contractual side, but it's not the contractual side he usually works with. It's more the marketing side. He's negotiated deals with brands such as Verizon, Canva, Old Spice, Dunkin', Amazon, a lot more. Again, too long to put on the presentation. He's represented NBA stars including Amar Stoudemire, John Wall, and Marcus Smart. Some takeaways from Brandon is to know your why when you want to work at an agency. There's a lot of people that say that they want to work in an agency, but not a lot of people leave the industry because they do enjoy it. So that means there's not a lot of opportunities. Also with him, a lot of people think that it's so cool that he gets to work with all these cool NBA players and stars, but he says that's not why he does it. He, at the end of the day, wants to help these players help provide for their family, represent them well, and also create the best sponsorship deals that he can for these players. And at the end of the day, it's for the players and not just knowing them and having their status. Also, agencies have very high ceilings, but also very low floors. So it can be challenging getting your foot in the door. This is something that's not always initially thought of when people say they want to work in agencies. It's just something to keep in mind. Another thing going off of this is no one is going to create a job for you. You must create added value and show that your future employer that you're going to bring some type of added value that separates yourself from others. For example, a way Brandon did this was creating his own app called Social Chair. Although Social Chair doesn't have anything to do really with sports, it shows his ingenuity and his creativity. And this is very impressive to employers or people looking on the outside in. Also, another thing he gave me some advice for is to ask very thought-provoking questions when networking. A lot of times we ask the more baseline questions that everyone asks, and that doesn't really separate us or make us any different than everyone else. Or does it really help gain more perspective by asking these generic questions? So thinking outside the box is really helpful, and it shows people that we might be thinking differently, and that's impressive. Another thing is to try to get involved in other industries. Brandon had said that he knew that he so badly wanted to work in an agency, so he tried to work for as many as possible. But looking in retrospect, he kind of wishes that he maybe would have tried working in politics or working in music or just a different industry, just so it could give him a different perspective, maybe a different skill set, and also a different network. Because you never know who you're going to meet, where you're going to meet, and maybe your paths will cross again. My connection number 2 is with Andrew Keon. He studied at the University of Florida, Go Gators, and he's actually currently the director of business development at Gator Sports Properties. He started as an intern at the University of Florida Athletic Department, and then the rest was history. He's been there for over 10 years. Although he's been there for a very long time, he said his roles have been constantly evolving. He's touched all different areas of Gator Sports Properties, so he's kind of got a different vantage point each year, which has kept him stimulated and challenged. Because I asked him, there's not many people that can say that they've worked at the same place in sports for that long and really enjoyed it too. But he said that being able to see the different aspects of Gator Sports Properties and touch different areas has kept him really challenged and interested. He currently helps align different brands with University of Florida Athletics, and does a lot of other things. And he also said he really does enjoy mentoring students like us. Some takeaways from working with Andrew is one of the biggest ones of both the connections that I will take with me for a very long time is be intentional with networking, add value to other people's life. Andrew said, try not to make networking transactional. He says he really does enjoy mentoring young people like myself, but a lot of times they'll talk or meet for a little bit because a student needs something like this for a project, and then he'll never hear from them again. He said it's really important to try to add value and show that you care periodically. And then you'll never know what those connections might bring later in the future. Also, another thing is if you're challenged or stimulated in the workplace, you will be happy, kind of like Andrew's career path. Another thing is be curious. You never know where it will lead you. Part of the reason Andrew got his job initially straight out of college is because he asked questions to happened to be the director of Gator Sports Properties, asked questions about what he does and was genuinely curious. And he made a really good impression on that person. So you never know where those questions will lead you. In the future, I'll try my best to maintain these connections. I've recently sent some courtesy thank you notes, thanking them for their time. I know they're very busy people, and I genuinely really appreciated these connections. Also following them on LinkedIn, and then also checking in briefly via text every 6 or so months just to see how things are going, if they're onto a new project or what's been going on with them. They genuinely appreciate it, and I think the feeling will be mutual, and who knows down the road if our paths will cross once again. So anyway, these were my connections, and I hope you enjoyed them, and I'm looking forward to watching all of yours connections.